Greetings, beloved, and welcome to this edition of Sitting with the Sister Minister. I am the Sister Minister, Soretta C. McKnight, and I am still excited and delighted to welcome to our show this day none other than the founder of the Harlem Fine Arts Show in the person of our brother beloved, Mr. Dion Clark. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
We are delighted that you are here because we know that the Harlem Fine Arts Show is legendary. Would you please share with us what exactly is the Harlem Fine Arts Show?
Well, the Harlem Fine Arts Show is the largest African Diasporic traveling show throughout the United States. We had humble beginnings in regards to, we started out, and this is our 7th anniversary in New York City, really just bringing what we call cultural nutrition and understanding to our audiences. We give them the opportunity to see great artists on premises. We give them the opportunity to purchase some great cultural and significant art, as well as we bring a taste of the Harlem Renaissance wherever we go. So it's an interesting road that we have started to develop, and we're looking forward to, again, coming back to New York in the next couple of weeks and getting the opportunity to really kind of showcase over 80 artists and galleries from around the world, and again, have some great events that are built in within the show that really kind of make it fantastic.
Let's talk about that, Dion. You said that it is a display of from the African diaspora. Yes, we're talking about making that cultural connection between the motherland and here.
Yes, and it's from where we started to where we have ended up. So it's the roots that we have traveled from the West Indies to South America, from the motherland, and all of the types of art that really covers that broad range, and we pull it together. And it's not really about a race perspective or a color perspective. It's about the artwork that comes from under that diaspora, and it's a great way to celebrate the cultural environment that's really kind of put together.
And that in and of itself is color.
Yes.
Of color.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So now let's talk a little bit about the genesis. In other words, you tell us that this is the 7th anniversary. We know it's coming up soon.
That's correct.
It's going to be February
4th through the February the 7th at the Riverside Church.
The historic Riverside Church.
I'm telling you, the historic Riverside
Yes.
Church, because that's the same place where Martin Luther King did that great speech in 1968 in terms of making the profound statements pertaining to the Vietnam War. It's the same place that so many great African Americans and multicultural individuals have been laid at rest, and it's a great meeting place in Harlem. So it really kind of combines all of the cultures together, and really in that Harlem perspective.
And there is no place on the face of the planet like Harlem. When you talk about the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and I want to get back to the genesis. What gave you the idea or the concept to be able to want to pull together those voices and voices, because the expression is through the actual art that is displayed, that's created. So to give voice to that, what motivated you? What inspired you?
Well, this Harlem Fine Arts Show has been in existence for 7 years, but it's a hybrid of a bigger and greater show that started before my time. And this is the National Black Fine Art Show that took place at the Puck Building and really started in the late 1900s. It was actually set up by a gentleman by the name of Jocelyn Wainwright, and of course partnered with Stedman Graham, Oprah's best friend, and they kind of put together a great package that ran for about 15 years. I was fortunate enough to be one of the pillars in that particular opportunity, and actually worked as their marketing and sponsorship director. I saw that the show was coming to an end. Jocelyn had some medical complications. Stedman was ready to move on to other opportunities, and we felt, or I felt, and my team felt, that we needed to take the show from Lower Manhattan, Chelsea area, to bring it to Harlem, where it belonged. It was very important. We felt it developed a great social significance because it was more than just a show. It was a social networking type of opportunity. So we packed all our bags and we came up to Harlem and we started the Harlem Fine Arts Show on 143rd Street at the Armory. And we had a small crowd that actually came and we were involved in. And it was I think, a great christening type of opportunity. The thing that really pushed it was Gayle King came in, and Gayle and Oprah have always been supporters of the show when it was the National Black Fine Arts
Gayle.
Show.
Hi, Oprah.
Hey, what's up?
Okay.
They were actually able to, she came in and she said, I need to buy some art. I just moved to the New York area and I would like that piece and I would like this piece and a number of pieces. And it was empowering to the artists. They saw this as a way of, this is a new show. This is going to be something that's positive, and that kind of put the beachhead for us. And we started going to Harlem. And then after that, we looked for a place that could be home. So we looked in that year, in that troublesome year, and then in around 2009, 2010, and we found the Riverside Church. And they adopted us. They said, come aboard and we will have a safe haven for you. And we started building the show, and we went from 30 artists to 50 artists, from 50 artists to 90 artists to where we are now. And we started selling, $500 to $1,000 worth of art. We sell $4 million worth of art over a 4-day period of time.
Beautiful.
People come from all around the world because it's a travel destination, and it's enabled us to not only do the show in Harlem, but we have 5 other stops over this 7-year period.
Okay, now that's a lot. That's a lot of information. So I'm going to roll it back just a little bit.
Take it back.
Let's take it back. Let's go to the Riverside Church.
Riverside Church.
Which has been home to the Harlem Fine Arts Show.
Last 7 years.
The last 7 years. What has been the participation from the community? You talk about folk coming from around the world. How about from our local community?
Oh, we've had a tremendous embracing of the art and the artists.
Who are the artists? And
the artists are from Michael Escoffreys to a Ted Ellis to a Frank Frazier to, again, some of the notable great artists from around the world. We have galleries. We have, a great marketing mix of tremendous artists and galleries that come there, and they stay there for hours upon hours, not only selling their work, but building relationships with the community, explaining what their work is. And we find it's almost a social justice perspective also, because as you know, the art talks about the past, the present, and the future, and all of this is embodied in our artists, and they've been able to really give these great expressions and understandings about what's going on in the art world and what they do on a day-to-day basis to really make us impactful and make people want to come back for not just the artist, but for the brand. And the brand is the Harlem Fine Arts Show. A traveling
show, a traveling art show that is making its way to Harlem now. What are some of the other cities that you'll be going to?
Well, we go to Martha's Vineyard, and we're there while the president is there, and we're there usually for a 4-day period of time. We're in Washington, D.C., we're in Chicago, we're in Atlanta, we're in Houston, Texas. So those are some of the stops that we make when we actually travel throughout the United States.
Dion, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the schedule for the Harlem Fine Arts Show, which of course is coming. February 4th is opening night, but it will run through February 7th at the historic Riverside Church up in Harlem, uptown New York.
Right.
All right, we'll be right back. We're back, beloved. Sitting with us and joining us, Dion Clark, founder of the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and joining us is none other than that esteemed elite professor of Nassau Community College, retired in the form of champion, Professor Sylvester Wise. Welcome.
My pleasure.
When we went to break, Dion and I were chatting about the Harlem Fine Arts Show. We know that you're intricate. You play an intricate role in the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and we are excited to have you here on set with us. How long have you been involved?
Actually, I've been involved since the beginning Pavilion when it started with the National Fine Arts Show, and more as a patron of the arts and a collector.
Which we know you have an extensive
Yes, I
collection
do.
of African art.
Yes.
We hope to go and film it at one point, beloved. But we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the dates for the Harlem Fine Arts Show. We know it's in February, Black History Month. We're talking about the diaspora, artists that are representative of. If you would share with us, opening night is February 4th.
February 4th from 6 to 10 p.m. It's our kickoff date. It's a great way for us to kind of open the doors and get the artists the opportunities to really kind of showcase some of their major pieces. It's an opportunity for us to also put together a little ceremony, and we'll be saluting some, I think, fantastic individuals. One will be saluting Congressman Rangel, who's been around since Hector was a pup. He was, again, really kind of developed some great input in regards to helping Harlemites and people throughout the United States, some of the great things in social justice ways, and always bringing cultural understanding. He's been on the forefront of helping the show, but we will salute him for his many years of service. Then we're going to salute B. Smith, and B. Smith has been legendary in my mind in regards to her restaurants, and of course her being one of the first women of color to be on, again, so many covers of contemporary fashion magazines. And she has been stricken with the Alzheimer's disease. And we just want to celebrate her. She was one of our first mistress of ceremonies, her and her husband, Dan Gatsby. So it's our honor to be able to do that. And then we're going to salute some of the major museums in the New York area, like the Studio Museum of Harlem.
And that's, Studio Museum of Harlem. I'm very familiar with them. And all of this takes place on February 4th.
Yes, February 4th from 6 to 10, hot hors d'oeuvres, great open bar, just a very, very festive evening for everybody to get together and kind of embrace each other and have some great fellowship.
And wonderful honorees. You're going to unveil that portrait, which is going to be exciting, I'm sure, of Congressman Rangel. Then on Friday, February the 5th, which is Youth Empowerment Day, share with everyone, our viewing audience, if you will, Youth Empowerment Day. Now that to me, and I'm sure to you, Professor, is exciting whenever we talk about our young people.
Well, that's one of my pet peeves, and that's something that the show has really established for a number of years. We actually open our doors to all of the public schools, charter schools, independent prep schools, Catholic schools throughout the tri-state area.
The tri-state area. So we're talking New York, Connecticut, New Jersey.
Yes, that's correct. And we want all the kids to possibly come in with their teachers, with their guidance counselors, under supervision, almost like a field trip. And they get the opportunity to come to the show. They get a chance to meet the artists. They get an understanding of, and we see the light bulbs just kind of open up in their heads in regards to some of the great things that they can do and they can be by meeting these artists and seeing our past and our present and our future through that particular segment. They also get a chance to have a mentoring opportunity. This year we have a special robotics program that's going to be beneficial to some of the kids in regards to just finding out what this is all about. And we have SUNY Purchase, which Dr. Pauline Mosley is heading up this robotics program to help it similar to a STEM type of program, and we've developed it to a STEAM program to put the arts in there. So it's really something that can embrace our kids and empower them. And that's so important because in these days and times with the cutbacks, there's no longer these arts programs in the school. There's no way to stretch that other side of the brain instead of the academic. You need the cultural and the artistic side and the entertainment side to make them a well-rounded individual.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can do that. And we just came out of Chicago a couple of months ago, and we had over 1,500 kids to come through our doors.
Beautiful.
New York will emulate something very similar, and we'll be able to do that to really kind of benefit them. And again, Sylvester Wise, or Professor Wise, has been instrumental in actually helping us put together and bring Long Island students and Long Island children to this, because for so far we've been really working with the 5 boroughs and Connecticut and New Jersey. But we need to bring Long Island and bring your inhabitants and those kids to really get that cultural benefit. And
so basically, to connect the dots, Professor Wise is instrumental. You are the point person for Long Island and the Harlem Fine Arts Show, almost like a Hempstead comes to Harlem type of thing, if you will.
Right.
Talk to us about the young people that you will have involved in this initiative through, I believe it's Gear Up?
The Gear Up program.
Yes.
So we have a wonderful program where we are engaged with the Westbury Schools, Uniondale, and Hempstead. And we are bringing the 8th graders from the Gear Up program at Hempstead. And that's under Marilyn Monroe, our director.
Sure.
And I can't not sit here, not to mention our president, who has been an extremely big advocate for us being involved with the Hempstead schools.
Who's your president?
President Saunders.
Yes, President Kenneth Saunders, absolutely.
So we
He's been
were
on our
able
show.
to move on this initiative, and we've also included Uniondale and an honors group from Westbury. So we have buses that are coming to the program from all these particular schools.
And I just have to mention that Professor Wise, we mentioned the program to him, and in a minute he had turned it around. He had gotten us in touch with Marilyn Monroe. He's talked to the head of the president of the particular area, and he's just really been able to cross the T's and dot the I's to make this program more impactful for Long Islanders. And I think I take my hat off to him.
He's legendary. He's legendary, and so it certainly is no surprise to us that he would be able to do to turn a program around, or to actually, probably, I would imagine he added emphasis. He took it, kicked it upstairs, and the people that you're mentioning that are involved all have track records of success when dealing with our young people. So hats off. And then, of course, we know that as you move forward, I know, Sylvester, you talked to me about the possible inclusion of a Roosevelt or a Freeport and a few other districts on the island.
Right.
And I know Shelley Brazeley is going to join us shortly, and she's going to be helping you with that initiative also, I understand.
Okay. All right.
He said, okay. No, but I'm saying that goes with, that goes along with, we talked off camera about that.
All right.
And so that's a good thing, because it is important that our young people get that information and be able to express maybe their own artistic capabilities. I don't believe it's either or. I believe it's and to make the child well-rounded. What do you think, Professor?
Well, I think so. I think this adds another cultural dimension, and as you know, as educators, we end up falling into the category of being the disciplinarians and trying to put all these points together to get these kids educated. But the cultural is the significant point that can bring everything together. Because when you introduce culture into any kind of level of education, there you're building the foundation for understanding who we are, where we came from, and who we can be or who we can become. And so Gear Up is about that, and that's one of the significant things that I really like about Gear Up, because we have a very strong cultural component.
We have to make sure that we bring you and the Gear Up team back, maybe at a future date, so that we can expose our viewership to that wonderful program.
Yeah.
And the fact that our young people are doing great things. Let's go back to the calendar. So we've taken care of February 4th. We've taken care of February 5th, which is Youth Empowerment Day, which hats off to you for that concept. Excellent. And let's go to February 6th.
Well, February 6th is going to be, and I'm going to say Long Island Day, and I think that's something that's very appropriate as we bring in new territories to the Harlem Fine Arts Show. I thought that after speaking with you, that it would be just so important to bring and galvanize Long Island with the rest of the tri-state area to be a part of this and really be a vital part of it. So we are asking everyone from the Long Island area to come to the Harlem Fine Arts Show.
Yes.
It's an opportunity for one lecture series to learn about how to purchase art, how to collect art. There's a great luncheon that's going to take place on that afternoon with Charlene Hunter Golf.
Sure.
She's going to be introducing her new PBS series, Race in America, and having some conversations. We'll have something called discussion on the in the city pertaining to social justice in America. And all of this time, from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, we will have artists on premise, galleries on premise, food being cooked. You come and you take off your coat and you spend the day with the Harlem Fine Arts Show. And the Harlem Fine Arts Show can salute Long Island and some of the real positive things that you guys have been doing, so we can all work together as one. And then in the evening, we have a salute to the what's the name of that organization? What's the name of it? Sisters in the Struggle.
Oh my!
Sisters in the Struggle.
Oh my! Oh my! Yes, sir.
And that's going to be phenomenal because we're going to salute, of course, the founder and some of the individuals that are involved. We're going to be able to break bread together.
Yes.
We're going to have some great beverages together. We're going to just be able to talk about the arts together, all under one special roof in regards to the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and it'll be segmented in that there'll be a special reception, and again we'll all be together, and then you can wander around the whole premise all day, and especially after the reception also. So it's like 3 for 1, 2 for 1, 4 for 1. We're all going to be together and have a fantastic Saturday.
And let me say this to you, Dion. We are absolutely honored and humbled that you all would consider Sisters in the Struggle and our organization, our Sisterhood of Sheroes and Brotherhood of Champions. And because it was such an honor, and talking about it being Long Island Day, one of the other groups that's going to participate, we brought some of our friends with us from Long Island that will be in attendance, such as Divas, the Divas organization, Democracy Inspired Voter Awareness. They're going to be there, and we're sharing with them. We're going to share with Amistad, the Long Island Black Bar Association. There are a couple of other entities that we will be sharing our platform with, since he gave us the platform, that we're going to share our platform with, because these are folk who will appreciate also the Harlem Fine Arts Show and what you're doing and what you're about. Plus, there are a few collectors in there too.
Well, I think it's a mutual admiration because we're going to love what you do in terms of just coming to the show. Our artists are going to appreciate you because they have such a hard time in the game of life in terms of most artists are not successful until they die. So you're going to help them out a tremendous amount.
We're going to switch that.
And then bottom line, it's just going to be a great day for us to have some fun.
Yes, it will. And we look forward to it. Then, of course, on Sundays, Sensational Sunday, February 7th, which is the conclusion of the Harlem Fine Arts Show. And I know that everybody's going to be on display, artists in residence, etc., from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday, correct?
No, on Sunday it's from 1 p.m. after the services, because we're not going to forget about the services, but from 1 o'clock till 6 o'clock, we're just going to have a great show. And through the benefit of, again, you and your...
co-conveners, Women in Ministry State of New York is helping you out with that one. Reverend Duggar has been working with you certainly, but we're going to do Super Song Sunday.
And we're going to have a sing-off, and the sing-off is going to be better than better.
Absolutely.
It's going to be better than anything that we've had at the Harlem Fine Arts Show on a Sunday, because it's going to be an opportunity for a number of choirs, local choirs from the tri-state area, to be able to come, and they're going to sing from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 4 o'clock. We're going to raise the roof. We're going to raise the consciousness. And bottom line, we're going to have a great time. And then you can just walk into the show and have an even better time in regards to looking at the art, purchasing the art, and talking to the artist.
Listen, I'm excited about it because I know I had just gotten a text. I stay excited. What can I say? I got a text a little while ago confirming that the elder Jeff Roberson and New Life are going to join us at Riverside Church on Sunday afternoon between 2 and 4. That's when Super Song Sunday is going to take place. And then, of course, And I just love, love, love these young people. We all share a passion. And Professor, I know you know very well the Voices of Virtue, the Hempstead High School Chorale, Select Chorale. Oh, award winning under the direction of a sister you're going to love, Rachel Blackburn. And they are going to participate. TAG BCCE, the alumni group of the Black Celestial Choral Ensemble, will be there. And I understand that there are a couple of other surprises. And so I don't want to tell it all. You got to come. Mm-hmm. That's going to be, again, the Harlem Fine Arts Show.
Yes, it is.
That awesome traveling display of talent will be in residence at the Riverside Church up on Claremont, uptown Harlem at 120th Street. Everybody is invited to come during that time frame. Tell us, is there, now all of this being presented, tell me there must be a minimal charge or something attached.
It's very cost effective. We're trying to make sure that everybody can afford it. Everybody can be able to just put a few pennies together and be able to make this work. It's $25 to come in at the gate, and you have access to the sing-off, you have access to the lecture series, you have access to the artists and the galleries, and the only thing that you have to buy is some of the great food that they have, because we have a caterer there with some soul food that's tremendous. So watch out for the macaroni and cheese. Okay? So it should be a great day. Sure. All 3 of those days, and then opening night is something special and beyond belief, because again of all the salutes. But it's what Don Cornelius used to say was the hippest trip in America. This is going to be the hippest trip in the art world in regards to the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and please be my guest.
Absolutely. Beloved, we have been chatting. Sitting with the Sister Minister this afternoon has been Dion Clark, the founder of the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and of course our good friend and brother, champion, Professor Sylvester Wise, who of course will be involved with Friday on a very, very personal basis with the Gear Up program, having worked with young people and him being an educator extraordinaire. So, gentlemen, I thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I have one surprise for you.
Surprise on camera. Let me brace myself. Okay, go.
January 18th, I understand you're being honored by the NAACP and ISLIP. Dion has discussed with me
January 16th.
That 16th, that not only would he like to come and be a participant in that, but offer a piece of art to the NAACP as a raffle.
Right.
And in terms of trying to take this program to Long Island Day to ISLIP, celebrating Soretta McKnight on that evening. So that's a little surprise to you, Soretta.
Okay, you got me.
Well
you got me. Thank you so much. Oh, we appreciate you. Beloved, you have been sitting with the Sister Minister, who has been joined today by Brother Dion Clark and, of course, Professor Sylvester Wise, and they've just taken the wind out. I'm breathless and speechless. I thank you ever so much. That is just kind. You know, people don't have to be kind. And so I want you to know that we appreciate it ever so much. I go, we go. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the partnership as we go forward. And we're looking forward to great things as we take the Harlem Fine Arts Show to the levels and to the stratosphere as it should in many, many years to come. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget, beloved, February 4th through the 7th, it's the Harlem Fine Arts Show at the Riverside Church, Uptown Harlem. Only $25, and you can enjoy, you can learn how to be a collector, you can meet some of these dynamic artists, and listen, it's going to be fun.
Wonderful.
Look to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Sitting with the Sister Minister.